Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ on this Tuesday, very busy Tuesday because we've got Big Ten Media Days going on. Taking a look at the odds to win the national championship, Ohio State, reigning champs right now, sitting at plus 600, tied with the Georgia Bulldogs, but sitting on top are the Texas Longhorns at plus 550, the favorite to win the SEC, and of course the favorite to win the Natty. But we're going to talk about the Big Ten because you do see three Big Ten teams there. So let's get into it. Are they a title threat or a trap team? Let's welcome in Brandon Marcello, who's with us, joining us from Vegas. You look like the mayor of Vegas right now. I got to say, like with the outfit, the thing, like, are you running things out there right now, Brandon?
I'm pulling double duty. I'm doing a show later tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, you look very handsome. Let's dive into it. Let's start with Ohio State, the reigning champs. They do get, a star player like Jeremiah Smith back. However, they do have to figure out who their quarterback's going to be. Some people have said maybe they're going to take a step back. Title threat or trap team for the Buckeyes?
Oh, they're most definitely a title threat. They've got the most experienced, should be talented roster in college football, according to the blue chip ratio, tying with Alabama at 89%. The big question, of course, everybody has is quarterback situation with Julian Sand. But to me, it's more about the defense. You lose defensive coordinator Jim Knowles, who led one of the top 2 to 3 defenses in all the country last season. And you lose a lot of talent and experience and your starters there. And really, it's all going to have to start at the safety position with Caleb Downs and bringing everybody else up to speed. That's the thing that worries me about Ohio State. I think their offense is still going to be able to score points. They've got playmakers. They've got blazers there. But defensively, will they gel? Will they come together quicker than maybe I'm thinking? Because they're going to have a huge game, obviously, in week 1 against Texas, but also throughout that Big Ten season, they can't get their confidence down because I think that defense is going to be a work in progress this season.
Let's go to Penn State here. It was an interesting season for them. Look, they made it to the Big Ten title game. They lost to Oregon. They get into the playoff, make it all the way to the semis where they fall to Notre Dame in that game. The good thing is you talked about losing some players. They really have their core offense back, including their quarterback, Drew Aller. Are we looking at title threat or trap team for Penn State, the Nittany Lions, excuse me?
Well, for me, it's about Drew Aller just continuing to improve, and I think they are a threat because they've got the talent. More importantly, a lot like Ohio State last season, they're bringing back a lot of talent. They convinced almost everybody to come back, it seems like, and that offense is going to be hitting on all cylinders, in my opinion. I know they lose some receivers there, but I love Syracuse transfer Trevor Pena. He's going to be a big-time playmaker for them. They've also got some physicality at receiver right now that's really going to help them, but Drew Aller has been very inconsistent at times, even trying to hit wide open receivers. It's almost like he gets a little too anxious at times. I mean, remember back in the playoff, he didn't complete a single pass in that final game to a receiver. Insane. But he's got weapons there. That defense is going to be loaded. And Jim Knowles comes over from Ohio State. He's one of the best defensive coordinators over the last 8 years, in my opinion, in college football. What he did at Oklahoma State was miraculous. And then transferring that over to Ohio State, which is really in the dumps defensively, if you think about it, 4 years ago, bringing that up, and Penn State's loaded this year. That's the team to me that is the favorite in the Big Ten, not Ohio State.
All right, I'll go with that. What about Oregon? If Penn State, as you have them, is a favorite, Ohio State is a title threat, though. Oregon, I was talking to Brad Crawford yesterday. He said, I think they take a step back, went undefeated in the regular season until they ran into Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, lost that game there, 41-21. Where does Oregon sit for you?
They're a trap team. I don't see them as a maybe legitimate threat right now on paper to win the Big Ten championship. They could lose 2 to 3 games, right? And the reason for that is because they have to start all over at quarterback with Dante Moore, a young transfer from UCLA. We've become so accustomed to Oregon just bringing in, it seems like, 19th and 20th year seniors at quarterback, whether it was Bo Nix and obviously Dylan Gabriel, breaking the NCAA record for touchdown passes in a career last year. To me, they've got to get him up to speed. I think Oregon's going to really rely on the running game early. And by the way, they have to replace a couple 1,000-yard rushers there, too. So this team, more than maybe in Ohio State, as I mentioned earlier, is going to very much be a work in progress. And for right now on paper, I just don't see them as a legitimate threat for the Big Ten title come November.
Our first true trap team for you, the Oregon Ducks. Moving on to Michigan. Of course, you talk about playing Ohio State. They've owned them for the past 4 years. Great. You got to get further than that, though. Bryce Underwood, how much pressure is on this young man? And I got to ask you, how much does he play into whether you think they are a title threat or a trap team?
He's going to make the offense more dynamic, but the thing is, it's like, how much is the offense actually going to change? It's still going to be run dominant, and Bryce Underwood is going to provide that duality, right? He's someone who could rush for 600 to 800 yards on any given season, potentially at Michigan within that offense. But are they going to let him loose a little bit more? Maybe more like JJ did a couple years ago. But for me, Michigan's got all the talent. They've got the depth in the trenches to get things going, but will they actually tweak things and change things offensively? I'm not so sure with Chip Lindsey coming in from North Carolina. I think they're going to really still be a run-heavy team, rely on that, and allow Bryce Underwood to come along as he does so as a very talented player. But remember, still a true freshman. As the offensive coordinators, they were telling us back in the summer, he was still trying to learn how to handle the huddle and make calls. So let's kind of tamper back a little bit on these expectations for him. And for that reason, Michigan is maybe kind of a team that might be more of a trap team this year, maybe a two-loss team that's not in the Big Ten title hunt.
Okay, somewhere a little bit more toward a trap team than a title threat, but still looking good for the Michigan Wolverines. They'll get back to that national championship status soon. Man, I sound like I'm in Vegas. Let's go to Indiana here. And what Curt Cignetti has done with this team is incredible. One of the best turnarounds we've seen in recent memory. 3-9 to 11-2. He was talking at Big Ten Media Days earlier today. Here's what he had to say.
I get questions, how are you going to sustain it? We're not looking to sustain it. We're looking to improve it. And the way you do that is by having the right people on the bus, upstairs in the coaches' offices, downstairs in the locker room, having a blueprint, plan, and process, high standards, expectations, never lowering your standards.
All right. Also want to mention new transfer quarterback there, Fernando Mendoza, coming from Cal. And I cover 3 podcasts, guys. I mean, they love him. They have a lot of expectations for him. So are you looking at title threat or trap team for Indiana?
Trap team, bordering on title threat, just because of the schedule sets up pretty well for them. They avoid a couple of big-time teams there. But I really like the way Curt Cignetti just goes about building his rosters. It's almost like a Moneyball approach. Go get me production. I don't care about where a player is from. Just go get me a player that puts up a lot of numbers, and I can build out from there. And you mentioned Cal's Fernando Mendoza coming in. He's a 70% passer, and that's exactly what Curtis Rourke was when Curtis Cignetti got there. He brought in a guy that just can complete passes, and he built the offense around him. You've got Elijah Surratt coming back at receiver, who I'm a big fan of. I think that offense is going to be just fine. And then look at what they returned defensively. They've got 3 All-Americans from last season returning, 1 on each level of the defense to get them going. This is a team that's going to be sneaky good. And the reason why I say sneaky is because I think a lot of people just assume that they're going to take a step back because they did have to replace a lot. But at key spots and positions, not only do they fill things up with some really good players and guys that really fit that Moneyball approach, but the players that do return are All-American types on defense. This is going to be a really good Indiana team, and a team that's going to probably upset someone on their schedule. But will they get back to the Big Ten title game potentially and get to that type of level there late in November? I'm not so sure.
Brandon, we appreciate it. We're going to talk to you again, but I need you to find someone, go to the Bellagio fountain, take a ton of pictures of yourself, because this outfit is working, my friend. Full-on Instagram model. Get that going later today, Brandon. We appreciate it. The Big Ten returning to CBS August 30th. It is just around the corner, just a little bit more than a month away. Make sure to tune in when it does.